The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Hey, welcome to the Puck Portfolio for Friday, March 29th. Just one game on the docket in the NHL tonight. My name is Andy MacNeil. I'm your host. I'm here on weekdays to provide NHL projections, picks, betting advice, and strategies to help you make informed bets throughout the NHL season. Bit of a tough night on Thursday. 1-2 lost a small bet on the Chicago Blackhawks, getting shut out by the Ottawa Senators. Of course, the Florida Panthers blowing a lead and losing 3-2 to the New York Islanders, but got a win on the Dallas Stars, so salvaged some money on Thursday, but overall a losing night. Not a disaster by any means, but hey, we move on to the weekend, a long weekend, as it is a holiday Friday here in Canada, the United States, and lots of other places around the world. There was only one game, like I said, on Friday, March 29th. There's only one game on Sunday, March 31st, but we've got a bunch of hockey to be played on Saturday, so this show is mostly going to be spent looking ahead to Saturday's NHL games. We've got some early odds up at NorthStar Bets. Of course, this show is sponsored by NorthStar Bets, so you can check them out via the link in the description below. But yeah, let's talk quickly about the lone game on Friday. It's the Devils and the Sabres in Buffalo. The playoff implications here are going to get blown out of proportion, whether we're talking about Buffalo or New Jersey. According to my projections, the Sabres have less than a 0.5% chance of making the playoffs as things stand right now, while the Devils' chances are around 7%. So unlikely that either of these teams will make the playoffs, but hey, nonetheless, there's going to be a lot of focus on this game on Friday, not only because there are some playoff implications, but because it is the only game on Friday. So it looks like we're going to see Jake Allen versus Devin Levi in goal. Of course, the Sabres are in action again on Saturday against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they look to be saving UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, for that game. My model has the New Jersey Devils listed as a minus 111 favorite. They are a small favorite now, so doesn't look like there is any reason to bet on either team at the current prices, but we will move on to Saturday. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Saturday's games here. This is not going to be a long show. I'm not even supposed to be working today. It's a holiday. But hey, I wanted to come and make sure that I provided the projections and whatever picks I had for you all heading into the weekend, because all the hockey is going to be played on Saturday for the most part. So the bet that I'm looking at, my favorite bet, my only bet for Saturday right now, things can change. Obviously, we'll get some variety in the odds that were offered as more sports books open up. But with NorthStar being one of the only sports books with odds up on Saturday's NHL games, the first one that jumps out to me is the Nashville Predators at plus 155. Now, Nashville's undefeated streak came to a screeching halt in Arizona on Thursday as the Predators lost 8-4 to the Coyotes. Still, only one team has scored more goals than the Preds have on a per 60-minute basis since the start of February, and they grade out as one of the best teams, a top 3 team per Evolving Hockey's expected goals model during that stretch. Val Nichushkin did not play in Thursday's game versus the Rangers. His status heading into Saturday's game against Nashville is up in the air. Nichushkin has notched 4 goals and 4 assists in 8 games this season. Hasn't played with the Avs a lot, but he is a big part of the lineup, so it would help the Preds a little bit or a lot if he is not able to play on Saturday. Don't get me wrong, Colorado is a favorite for a reason, but for my money, the Nashville Predators are the best moneyline bet currently on the board at plus 155. I'm locking in Nashville for a 1-unit bet. So before we move on to some of the games that I think there are some, worthwhile notes to discuss, etc. Let's do a little bit of a schedule breakdown here. If you've been here before, you know what you're looking at on the screen. The rest column tells you how many days rest teams have across the league heading into their game. So, for example, the New Jersey Devils have had 2 days off prior to this game. The Sabres have only had 1 day off. And the load column gives you a little bit more context. For example, the Vegas Golden Knights playing their 4th game in 6 nights. The Ottawa Senators playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. just gives you a little bit more context as to what kind of schedule situation teams are dealing with across the league. But anyways, let's get into the projections here. As you can see, Nashville, I think, should be priced at plus 139. The Avs at minus 139. They're at plus 155 right now, so that's good for a 1-unit bet. Vegas, they're in Minnesota to take on the Wild. They've looked good recently. They look good enough that they should not be an underdog in Minnesota, but they really shouldn't be a favorite either. My model makes Vegas minus 102 favorite on Saturday. Alex Pietrangelo missed Thursday's game against the Jets due to an illness. William Carrier is also out, and Aiden Hill, the goaltender, is expected to be out until next week. No bets on this one. The Anaheim Ducks, they're in Edmonton taking on the Oilers, and what is there to say about this one? It should be a lopsided win for the Oilers. The model makes Edmonton a minus 511 favorite. NHL teams don't get much worse than the Anaheim Ducks. They've even got smoked by the Seattle Kraken in the last 2 games. The Ducks are on a back-to-back here, playing Saturday and Sunday in the lone game against the Vancouver Canucks. The Rangers, they're in Arizona taking on the Coyotes. As I mentioned, the Coyotes took down the Preds in pretty impressive fashion on Thursday. And the Rangers, they haven't been a great bet as the road favorite this season. They've been profitable. They've gone 14-9 as road chalk this year for 1.17 units, but that's not, great, so can't really call them a great bet as road faves. And the Coyotes, they've proven to be a decent home team in the last 2 seasons. This season, they've gone 20-17 straight up so far in 2023-24. I'd probably take a flyer on the Coyotes if it's Jonathan Quick in goal for the Rangers, but only at plus 175 or better. I'm not going to lock anything in right now. Morgan Rielly, he missed another game on Thursday for the Maple Leafs. Mitch Marner isn't expected to return until early April, so it looks like they could be still shorthanded in their game Saturday versus the Buffalo Sabres. I don't see any value on the Maple Leafs, nor do I see any value betting on the Buffalo Sabres. Now, Pittsburgh narrowly defeated Columbus at home on Thursday. Now they'll play the Blue Jackets on their turf. The Penguins' odds, I think, are a little low, according to the model, but no team has been worse as the favorite this season, so it kind of makes sense. And regardless of whether or not I have a bit of an edge here, I'm not going to act on this one. I don't need to reach on betting the Pittsburgh Penguins. Carolina at Montreal, not much to say about this one. Carolina should win, obviously, but the Canadiens, they've been upsetting teams left and right lately. Producer Jake is going to be at this game with his dad, so hope you have a good time, Jake. The Flyers have a new goaltender in Ivan Fedotov, who just got here from the KHL. Felix Sandstrom sent back down to the AHL as a result. GM Danny Briere said that it would be up to coach John Tortorella whether Fedotov plays down the stretch. He was the starter for the Russians in the 2022 Beijing Olympics when they reached the final and lost to Finland. Not sure how his game will translate to North America, but he's a seasoned goaltender internationally, and I think there's definitely some hope that he can help the Flyers in the crease down the stretch and maybe even in the playoffs. So keep an eye on that. They are hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. Might be a good spot to get him into his first game. The New York Islanders, their playoff hopes still on life support, sitting at around 22% currently, according to my projections, which you can check out right now. They've been updated at canadasportsbetting.ca, so head on over there or check it out on Twitter at Digital Gambler, where I tweeted about that earlier. They are in Tampa Bay taking on the Lightning, but I would not bet on the Islanders to beat the Lightning at the current odds. Tampa Bay has been playing pretty good lately. Another team I would not bet on is the Winnipeg Jets, not at the current odds at least, and I doubt that they will come down enough to the point where I would want to bet on them because, Thursday's loss to the Golden Knights was just another example of how this Winnipeg team is trending in the wrong direction. They deserve to be a bigger favorite, but that doesn't mean there's any value on this team. If the Sedins odds get any longer, I'd lean towards taking a flyer and betting on Ottawa here. And finally, a game I want to talk about is Boston and Washington, because I think there's going to be a lot of focus on this one. Could be a preview of a possible first round matchup between Boston and Washington. They've not been a good team to bet on as favorites though this season. The Bruins particularly on the road. And the Capitals, they've been good enough as underdogs, but I don't think there's enough value here. Plus 128, the current odds at NorthStar Bets, and I would need upwards of plus 160 to warrant a bet on the Washington Capitals. So I'm not going to think about fading the Boston Bruins just yet. But that pretty much does it for today's episode of the Puck Portfolio. Like I said, short one, just trying to get the projections out there early so that as other sports books open up throughout the day, you all will have the tools and the information you need to make some good decisions. But for me, for my money, the best bet at the current odds available at NorthStar Bets is Nashville plus 155 on the money line to beat Colorado on Saturday. So it's going to be a tough one, but I've got faith in the Nashville Predators even after the loss. Please drop a like on the video if you have not already. Subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you on Monday.